Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Blacklogic. I covered this story earlier in the broadcast, early this morning, and I want to kind of go over it again because President-elect Donald Trump's suggesting of purchasing Greenland may have sounded outlandish initially, but it may inadvertently spotlighted Arctic geopolitics. And I've stated the many resources that Antarctica has, and there could be some sort of a race to claim fame. But with information that I've kind of did some research on, there's already some countries who have a permanent location in Antarctica. So I'm gonna blow this up for you guys. And I want you to see that Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, and United Kingdom has a territorial claim in Antarctica. And there's other countries without territorial claims, but some of them may have a temporary or permanent presence in Antarctica. The U.S. has a basis to claim territory, but has not made a claim. Russia has a permanent presence. India has a permanent presence, as well as Italy, South Africa, and Brazil. And we kind of went over the natural resources that Antarctica has: fresh water, certain types of fish. There may be oil and gas deposits, as well as coal. So again, some of the claims and some of the talks around going into Antarctica and claiming fame and etching out a space for America by the way of Greenland, those talks have been heightened because of the resources that people know of. Because most people just think that a lot of these countries that are laying waste in Antarctica are just there for research of maybe polar bears and the ice caps melting and global warming and things of that nature. No, a lot of these countries are there for the natural resource and how they can extrapolate those resources and ship them to their countries altogether. So again, we have to look at this very, very closely, because initially people think, oh, President Trump is just kind of toting his power around because America is the most powerful country in the world. And even though he's a NATO country, there may be some infighting, and we will definitely extradite America outside of NATO, but this may be a bigger ploy to strategically for NATO countries to have places within Antarctica altogether. Again, this is something that I wanted you guys to look at once again, and I think that could be very significant going forward. I know you guys have been hearing that California is once again grappling with devastating wildfires, with LA being particularly hard hit, and this is the most massive fire that LA has had when it comes to destruction of property. As thousands of residents evacuate and first responders face extreme challenges, the crisis has ignited a political clash between President-elect Donald Trump and Governor Gavin Newsom, because Trump criticized Newsom, blaming California's liberal policies and forest management for the recurring disasters. Newsom dismissed the accusations as political theater, urging unity and support for those affected. And we know how Donald Trump can go hard on some people, and some of it, again, could be political theater. Some of it could just be his own rhetoric. Some of it could just, he may not like the guy. But after doing a little bit of investigation, I found a small clip for you guys that I believe this gentleman here explained it, the reason why Democrats and most likely Gavin Newsom are to blame for these wildfires. I want you guys to listen in.
Hey, look, just real quick, for all of you in California dealing with these wildfires, I want you to know that without a doubt, 100%, this is the fault of the Democrats you elected. Because there are 4 actions taken by the Democrats that are directly responsible for why you're enduring this wildfire. The first being your state stopped clearing the brush. They didn't want to spend state money anymore on maintaining and clearing the brush that starts these wildfires. And they figured they would save money by not doing it. And then after the wildfire, they would get federal funding to take care of all the emergency stuff. They have just decided that it's cheaper on the state to not prevent them from happening. And after they happen, use federal FEMA funds to take care of it. Reason number 2 why you're enduring these wildfires is your mayor in LA decided to cut firefighter funding by $17.5 million. Now, it's less than what she wanted to cut. She wanted to cut $23 million. But yeah, she cut 17.5. Oh, and she took that money plus an additional $4 million and spent it on taking care of illegal immigrants. See, the mayor of LA decided to spend $21.8 million taking care of those people. And she was able to get most of that money from the fire department. Lastly, our government has taken money from fire departments all throughout the United States and spent them fully equipping and fully funding 16 Ukrainian fire departments. Those fire departments have reported to international media that they are fully equipped and ready for any emergency. So if you're wondering why you're dealing with these wildfires, it's because your fucking state stopped clearing the brush. Your mayor in LA cut $17.5 million of your funding and spent all that money on illegal immigrants. And all around the country, we've taken money from fire departments to make sure Ukraine is fully equipped for any emergency. Thank God it's less than 2 weeks till we have to stop dealing with this dumb shit.
Well said. Well said. And I've been saying this for a long time with the amount of support that we've given Ukraine. And this is this newfound information. And one of the things that wasn't mentioned in this particular clip is that they diverted and cut off the water in LA when it came to the fire hydrants. A lot of the firefighters were hooking up into the fire hydrants and there was simply no water. Whether it be a water source or the water was diverted, these are the reasons why we pay taxes. These are the reasons why Californians pay taxes. So again, a lot of these problems are inherent. Again, when you vote for a particular party, it may not be an issue, it may not be immediate how your vote takes place and what that culminates to and what that evolves to, but we now see the detrimental effects of the importance of voting versus who you vote for and what they plan to do with your vote. And again, I wish the best for these people in California. I don't wish ill will on anyone, but again, be very, very careful on who you vote for and why. Now, with that being said, I want you guys to stay focused on policies, whether it be from the Democrats or the Republicans. Policies are the most important things when people are running for office. Doesn't matter if it's federal, state, or local. Look at the policy. Don't just, oh, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to vote for Democratic policy. Oh, I'm a Republican, so I'm going to vote for Republican and conservative policies. No. Vote for your best interest. But again, if you're looking for the mass amount in the American public altogether, or your community, or your environment, your neighborhood, then vote according to your beliefs and what you believe will help your people altogether. Don't just vote because you're a Democratic. Don't just vote Republican because you're a conservative. And that is the way I think most Americans should vote. But again, we live in the freest country known to man, so vote as you see fit. Vote as you see fit. I don't know if you guys are aware that nearly 800 incarcerated individuals are risking their lives on the front line because part of California's controversial inmate firefighting program. Now, these individuals earn only a few dollars daily, raising ethical concerns for most people, while their bravery is undeniable. Critics argue that the system exploits vulnerable populations for dangerous work without offering fair compensation or adequate safety measures. And some people are like, well, they're criminals, they're inmates, so they're probably doing this to decrease the amount of jail time that they have. The same way that a lot of people join the Army and the Marine Corps during the wars that we have in America, or the court appointed them. You can decrease your time if you serve 4 years in the Marine Corps. You can decrease your time if you serve 4 years in the Army. And now you have a lot of inmates, nearly 800 firefighters deployed as LA battles wildfires. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with it was a popular TV show. I actually enjoyed it. I think it could have been more dramatized. I think it could have had a little more action. Are you guys familiar with this TV show? I don't think it only did, I said new series Friday, October. So I think it only did one season. It only did one season. And this particular star here, he came over from SEAL Team 6, I believe. This guy right here, he came over from SEAL Team 6 show. But it was a good show. I enjoyed the show, and I'm mad that they actually cut it. But it was only rated TV 14, not TV 16 or 18 or rated R or whatever. So the action wasn't as potent as a show like this dealing with fire and inmates should have been. It wasn't as dramatized, but I did enjoy the show. But to kind of get a grasp of the LA, incarcerated firefighters, watch this season, I think that it will handle most questions that you guys may have. Again, I'm not trying to promote the show. It's just a show that I watch. And I didn't know this until I watched the show. I didn't know that we had incarcerated folks in LA or in California altogether that were fighting these wildfires till I saw this show. Again, and this is how a lot of them cut down their sentencing, but this is optional. This is optional. They do not have to do this. So again, they're of course doing it to decrease their jail time, but is it bravery? I believe so. To go into wildfires and risk your life to decrease your prison time? I think so. I think it's a form of bravery. Okay, that's just my opinion about it. Let's move on. So President-elect Donald Trump is fighting back against the Justice Department. We won't worry about the graphics right now. Let me see if make sure you guys some graphics. Give me 1 second. He's fighting against the Justice Department Special Counsel report, asking an appeals court to block its release in its entirety. This move comes amid growing scrutiny over classified documents and election interference allegations. Trump insists the report is a witch hunt, while critics demand transparency. Now, critics can demand transparency all they want, but isn't this too late? Like, again, you've already, whether it's true or false, isn't it too late? He's about to be the 47th president. We are, 10, 11 days away? We're roughly 11 days away for the inauguration. So again, you're not going to hurt his character. He's won the popular vote, and he had the majority of the electoral college vote. So again, America has spoken. So at this point, I'm almost inclined to believe that this is a witch hunt, that they're trying to hurt his image. You can't hurt his image. I mean, they try to hurt his image before the presidential elections, and they're trying to hurt it after. It's over. He won. Get over it. It's done. Let's move on. Let's move on as a country, okay? And hopefully him and the people that has been elected and selected that's going to be part of the Donald Trump administration, that they do the best thing for America. Because a lot of people who did not vote for Donald Trump, a lot of people who voted democratically or independent, like, I hope this all blow up in you guys' face. Well, first and foremost, for people who voted for Donald Trump, if it blows up in their face, it blows up in your face. We are a country. It's not like the people who voted for Donald Trump, if he doesn't do something that benefits America and and you have the opposite effect, that it's just going to hurt those Americans. No, it's going to hurt all Americans. I just don't understand the ideology of people like you want to wish bad on the president. Okay. Again, it doesn't matter if you agree with what he said. It doesn't matter if you agree with what he's doing. But can we agree that if the policies benefit America, then it was a good thing? The policies. Policy over people, policies over emotions. Golly. I mean, we got to get this right. There's a lot of people, even your boss at work or your supervisor or a co-worker, you have to work with them. You know that you're under them, but you still go in each and every day trying to do the best job you can so you to get promoted or so the workday can go without a hitch. And you do it. Do it now. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. Do it for the country. That's all I'm asking. If it's possible. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware that at Jimmy, and I watched some of this funeral live, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, it brought together a unique mix of political figures. Give me a second. Give me a second here as the audio was playing. But it brought together a very, mixed group of political figures. And tensions were essentially on a display. Former President Trump was his brief chat with Barack Obama contrasted sharply with the cold reception from Kamala Harris and the Clintons, sparking discussions about decorum at state events. The gathering highlighted the complexity of Trump's relationship with his predecessors. Now, Obama just was trying to play it cool. He was like, hey, man, what's going on, Don? Yeah, you the Don now. Okay, Big Don, you the president again? See, I did 2 terms consecutively, but you came back real strong. It's like the LA Lakers, you kind of won a championship and waited a couple of years and won another championship. Cool. And that's the thing about men. And I'm not going to do the sexist thing. I'm not saying that women are a particular way. But hey, he won. It's over. We are all presidents. You're part of the President's Club. No big deal. Because if I can recall, the lineup was Bill Clinton, and I just saw it not too long ago. It was Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama. Of course, they was with their wives, and Donald Trump with his wife. And I believe Joe Biden was sitting in front of them. Maybe this graphic here has a depiction of how they were sitting. I'm gonna just cut the audio here, but I want to see. Okay, there it is, right there. Oh, did you guys see that? Yeah, it was Bill Clinton, George Bush, Barack Obama. See, right beside Donald Trump there, and they're just having a little chit chat. And there's Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and her husband, and they're over there, and Obama just chatting them up. And the Don, we're gonna call him the Don for short. He's leaning in. He like, nah, he's Donald Trump. Stop messing with Greenland. Yeah, Greenland, we're not going to mess with Denmark. He like, listen, I'm going for the oil. I'm going for the natural resources. But Obama, you're not in office no more. I'm just trying to ad lib here. He said, well, I have a lot of influence. Well, the Democrats' laws, you don't really have any influence. And look at him. He want to be part of the conversation. I'm sorry. I'm having a good time. Because Kamala Harris' husband is all in their conversation and discussion they're having at the funeral of Jimmy Carter. And who knows the conversations these two are having, okay? Because here's the thing. Regardless, a lot of people believe that Barack Obama was the worst president that America ever had until Joe Biden came into office. And now they believe that Joe Biden is the worst president. It doesn't matter. I want to talk about these two presidents sitting beside each other in their personal accounts and their personal takes, and on a personal level. I think Donald Trump could be a cool guy. I think Barack Obama could be a cool guy. Politics aside, and a lot of people may not like that. Politics aside, but they may just be cool people. I don't know. I know that's just my conjecture on the matter there. But nonetheless, it seemed as though they had a really good time and they just had a little chit chat. And of course, that made media news. Now, the U.S. has paid additional money in military aid to Ukraine, following and reinforcing its stance against Russia aggression. And Joe Biden, again, has signed a bill to give Ukraine another $500 million. I stated that very same sentiment this morning. And again, we're up to $200 billion. Again, these are our tax dollars. These are the money that is meant for our country. And again, look at what's going on in California. They're going to need federal aid and federal support for that. And again, I know a lot of people are just looking at the politicians themselves. Don't forget that everybody that lives in California is not a movie actor. They're not a millionaire, okay? Majority of the people in California, okay, are having everyday jobs and have everyday lives like everybody else. A lot of them, of course, in the tech, in the tech world, so to speak. But nonetheless, I'm just looking at the people all together. Elon Musk continues to dominate headlines with his controversial actions on X, formerly Twitter, from cryptic posts to heated public debates. Musk's erratic behavior raises questions about his motives. Whether it's a quest for political influence, control over narratives, or something else, Musk's actions are shaping public discourse in unpredictable ways. I don't care. Freedom of speech. I don't care. I think sometimes because Elon Musk is such a hot figure right now, ever since, Donald Trump came out publicly and stated that him and Ramaswamy are going to be head of the Department of Government Efficiency. He's just kind of been even more popular than he already is. He was already like very, very popular, especially after he bought Twitter, especially after he started Tesla, especially after he started SpaceX. And, he has his Starlink satellites and solar panels and robots. He's doing a lot of things. So he was already popular. So they're just making news out of Elon Musk. They're kind of just using him. They're getting on the coattails. They're trying to get a couple of clicks and views off of Elon Musk. Okay, we got it. Now, Indian professionals, listen to this. People from India. Indian professionals in the U.S. face mounting anxiety Due to Trump-era H-1B visa restrictions, these policies have created uncertainty for thousands of skilled workers hoping to achieve the American dream. Calls for immigration reform are growing as individuals and families navigate the challenges of a broken system. I don't know why they're fearing, because Elon Musk and Donald Trump has already put their support behind H-1B visas, and a lot of people from the Republican Party has been crying foul. They said, we thought you got to come in and motivate and inspire and create assistance for the American people before we start to grab immigrants from another country. And this is talking about legal immigration, because a lot of people said, well, Donald Trump, you said you was going to get rid of all the illegal immigrants and that you was going to slow legal immigration. So again, I don't know why, Indian Americans or Indian people who are over here on H-1B visas are having any anxiety. I mean, they're the richest group in America. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that Indian Americans are the richest minority in America? Because they essentially have majority of the tech jobs. Now, if you guys work for Fortune 500 companies, then you guys already know, you already know that majority of your IT team are from India, are from Bangladesh, are from maybe even China. But a vast majority of, there's Indian people in almost every state, and they have majority of the tech jobs. And a lot of these tech jobs, the minimum wage for a lot of these tech jobs are $150,000. So they come in America living, high middle class. So they're already living the American dream. I think this is a ploy for other people from India to come over here and live the so-called American dream. And again, and a lot of people do not believe, I talked to a buddy last year, and he does not believe that America can ever become overpopulated. How do you think India has become overpopulated? How do you believe China has become overpopulated? And now, don't get me wrong, in America, we have a declining birth rate, and that's through all demographics. And some people are like, well, we need immigration to plus size our numbers to run some of these corporations and organizations and companies that we have, because we are not having as many as babies as we once did during the baby boomer generation. Well, let me give the American government, let me give people who are trying to make a way for immigrants to come over, stop inflation, raise wages. See, because here's the thing, if things wasn't as expensive in America, people will have more children because they can afford the most basic values of life. They can afford eggs, milk, and bread. They can afford to buy a house. They can afford to buy a house where they can have 2 or 3 or even 4 children. See, make things affordable again. How about that? Make things affordable again for Americans, and then Americans will have more kids. Because some people, when they're in college and they starting off their career and they're only making like $50,000 and they live in a 1-bedroom apartment, no one's thinking about bringing a child in the world unless it's a mishap, unless it's an accident. Oops, didn't wear a condom that time and now she's pregnant. All right, I guess we got to pull together our meager resources in order to take care of this child. But I'm not going to have any more children, because most Americans now are not having children until their 30s and 40s. And some people are just opting out of the child making process altogether. And it's not because of socialism or anything like that. It's because, goddamn, all this stuff is expensive. You know what? I really like the Honda Pilot, but now the Honda Pilot that used to be $25,000 is now $40,000. You see what I'm saying? And people are like, well, the best thing is to buy a used car. Some people want to experience a new car. New cars are very expensive. So now we got to get a used car or a used car. And then some people, because we can't afford it, you just buy an abused car. So again, make America affordable again. And people will start having children. This is all economics. Don't forget, during the baby boomer generation, a lot of people worked at the factory. A lot of people worked in manufacturing. A lot of people worked on the car lines making vehicles. But they could afford a house. They can afford, a very 3-4 bedroom house, right? They can have that American dream. So people were having a lot of babies. They were having a lot of babies, and just slowly but surely, things in America got very expensive. And then you see the birth rates decline very sharply. Like, man, it's too expensive to have a child right now. Because the one thing that you want to have prepared when you bring another life in this country is, one, you don't want to depend on the government with food stamps and welfare and what's the new term that they're using? EBT. You don't want to depend on the government to take care of you and your child. Okay. So again, make America affordable again. And I believe that the birth rates will go back up. Okay. I'm looking at statistics when I'm looking at these things. That's all. Now, both Elon Musk and Ramaswamy are vocal about the burden of U.S. regulations targeting red tape in industries like tech and energy. While their critics resonate with many, opponents argue their views oversimplify some of the complex necessities and safeguards of these sectors. And I guess my very brief take on this, if we can do things very safely without damaging the ecosystem and our environment, then do it. It's going to create more jobs. It's going to drive energy costs down. The end. That's all I really have to say. I have one more clip for you guys, because I think that this will give light on Donald Trump's take when it comes to Canada being the 51st state. A lot of people thought he was joking. A lot of people thought Donald Trump was joking, but let me enlighten you. Give me about 2 minutes with this video, if you will.
If we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstances will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't
care. You had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir, real fast, you said you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something. You get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like, and it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care of Canada. We lose in trade deficits. We're losing massive. We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20% of our cars. We don't need that. I'd rather make them in Detroit. We don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But
the U.S. the right to lay claim to us.
No right. Nope. No right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast.
My point exactly. We don't have to help anybody. Like he said, there's an imaginary line between us and Canada. Okay, and we're giving more to Canada. We give Canada $200 billion a year, and Canada depends on America for their national security because they're on the doorsteps. We don't have to depend on Canada for anything. So he was like, it would be profitable just to have more land because we're already doing it already. He's like, no, we don't have any obligations to protect anybody. And this is the same stake I've been talking about when it comes to Ukraine. Golly. Go ahead, Don.
But we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. But why are we supporting a country, 200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take that 20% of our car market. You know, they send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of
Oh, man. Donald Trump said, we don't need no milk. We got a lot of milk. We don't need their milk. Basically what Donald Trump is saying, and he said it 10 times over, we don't need anything from Canada. We don't. And that's why he proposed that Canada be the 51st state. I thought he was joking. I thought he was just, you know, dramatizing things, but he's dead serious. And he said no. He kind of just killed the critics about him ruling out military force. He said no military force, economic force. Because what he's stating is, or what I believe he's alluding to, is stopping the funding that we give to Canada each and every year and cutting the ties of Canada making some of American vehicles and some of the exports that come into America. Because you know what? I want you guys to listen to a little bit more of this, because he's stating that Canada doesn't take any exports from America. I'm pretty sure there's some, but not as much as we take from them, meaning that they're making all the money. So we are their national security. We give them $200 billion. They make our cars. We buy their milk. We do all these things for them. They do nothing for us. That's basically what Donald Trump is stating. Bear with me here, because I think that's imperative that you hear him say it and not just me. Listen in on this, please. Listen in on this. I think this is very, very good.
everything. And we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question, but I can answer it. We're doing it because of habit, and we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors, but we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either.
I absolutely love it. This is what I was talking about. I'm glad I came upon this clip. I'm just glad I came upon this clip, because this is what I'm talking about. It's always America footing the bill for every single thing, and we get nothing in return. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. This is Blacklogic. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Have a good one.